This is Smartboard training video 2. Here I'm going to walk you through some more advanced things, especially a few things that are really helpful in a math classroom that you might not be aware of even if you already do have a Smartboard. So over here on the left hand side, and if you didn't know, you can actually change what side this little toolbar is on by clicking on these double arrows here. So swap between the two sides, and if I click on the button, the second one down that's got the little picture frame around it, and I want to search in here, you can download different things depending on what content area you're in. So if some of these aren't showing up for you, you can click on this little button here. Looks like a little magic wand or claw or something. If you go down and check for updates, you can update your lesson activity toolkit or your gallery essentials. And the gallery essentials, if you click on that, it'll pop up. Might take a little bit. And in here, you can select the different things that you want. So you can tell I've got a few different ones installed. You can install them all, but I would definitely recommend the math one. It's going to have some good things. So let's say I want to install, or not install, but I want to do some graphing. So I'm going to graph here. You can see that a whole bunch of stuff popped up. So there's a whole algebra folder, paper backgrounds, tools, but I just want a simple XY axis. Maybe I'm going to graph some lines or something. So here's my graph paper. And one thing that my students seem to struggle with, especially if they come up to the board and they're going to graph, or even I'm going to graph, is on here, you notice I'm moving it around a lot. So if I want to lock this down so it doesn't move, if I go up to the little triangle on the right hand side and I click on that, one of the options says lock. And if you go down there, you can unlock it, lock in place, allow it to move and rotate. And in this case, I'm just going to lock it in place because I want to be able to lock it in place. If I click on it and try and move it, right up there in the right hand corner, you can see that there's a little lock. And you can change that at any time. So let's say I'm going to graph on this. So I'm going to want maybe some shapes up here to make points. So I'm going to make a little circle, and I'm going to fill that little circle in. Oh, let's make it green. That should be something everybody can see. Oh. So if I take this and I filled it in, it should be green. There we go. So, oh, and I need to get rid of that one. I can just delete it. So now I've got this little circle, and it's going to be green. I'm going to use it to graph, maybe plot some coordinates. Maybe I'm going to make a line later. So, but I'm going to want to plot a whole bunch of maybe coordinates. Maybe I'm going to have a whole bunch of points on this coordinate plane. I don't want to have to keep remaking this circle. So if you click on that little right triangle up here, the option under delete says infinite cloner. Okay, just what it sounds like. It's going to now make infinite copies of this little point here. So I can drag a point off, plot one at the origin. I can drag another one off, and maybe this one's going to be at, looks like 3, 0. Maybe I'm going to plot another one at -3, 0. And no matter how many of these I drag off, another one's going to keep coming. And if you click on it, it's got the little infinity sign in the little box, so that's how you know it's an infinite cloner. What if I want to take this page, and my students are going to graph a whole bunch, but I don't want to have to keep going back and deleting all these points and getting rid of them. I want to be able to go back and maybe reference a bunch of them. Well, if you go over to your page organizer here on the left hand side, you've got this top tab, and that top tab will show all of your pages that you have. So one of the options there is to clone the page. And if I clone the page, you note that I can now go back and forth between the two pages. You literally can't see a difference. So that if I want to graph a couple points on this page, maybe I'm going to go to the next page, and I'm going to graph a couple different points. You can't tell the difference between the two pages. And I could have made a whole bunch of clones of this first page. The only difference is those 2 points. So if you're going to do an activity maybe with a lot of graphing, or anything at all where you're going to want that background and anything that you worked really hard to set up to be copied and pasted all over again. You don't have to copy and paste everything on the page. You can use this cloner option. You'll notice as well that this line tool here, if I want to connect these lines, say with a nice green line since I made my dots green, I can do that. You can draw out a line. Now, it doesn't perfectly go over the two lines, or the two dots, but I can fix that. If I put away that line tool and note that when I click on the line, I've got two dots, one on each end, and the arrow in the middle. The arrow in the middle, I can click on properties, and it can change my line properties, so I can change the line style, big, little dots, more of dashes, intermixing dots and dashes. I can make it solid. This is really nice for when you go to graph inequalities, and I can have arrows on the ends, or I could make them more like line segments if I were in a geometry class. So up to you. I can change the thickness of the line, so if I want a super thick line or a super thin line, I can make it however I want. You can also do that up here in your line style tab. So I can, like I said, move these around a little bit until I get them placed over the dots just how I want, and then I have a line. Again, these are just a few tips and tricks so that as you go forward and try and make your own Smartboard file, you can do that.